Hey guys, Useful Yields here. We are back to the good weeks. So we're up quite a bit. Currently the portfolio is sitting around $7,641.16. So that's this amount plus the amount we have in cash. So we did get some dividends this week. So one of the dividends we got was NVIDIA, which was $18.96. One was $8.76 from WiMAX and $1.36 from XCTE. I don't know why this looks like I got paid twice for WiMAX, but regardless, have about $30, $30 ish from the amount. So I don't know what's going on with this. But let's take a look at the individual stocks here. So basically, each of the different portfolios that I have, we have obviously more growth in the high yield dividends because they're a little bit more risky. And all of these single tickers have been doing pretty insane amounts of growth recently. So Coney up about 5% almost. I had the wrong selection. Here we go. This is the correct one. So about 5.85% for the high yield dividends and 3.95% for the leverage ETF portion. So we go a week. I don't know why it's being kind of buggy. Okay, it looks like this is showing as a week, but 11% on Coney, which is crazy. 4.5% on Misty, 4.26% on WiMAX, 6.25% on USD, 1.65% on NVIDIA, and that is still after the dividend, which is nice, and then 1.35% on XDTE. I'm very glad these two went up. Excuse me. I was really tempted to drop these two, especially USD, and I still might do it pretty soon. Because we can just redistribute this into like WiMAX, which would be really nice. But I don't know. Like I don't want to miss out on that many on the gains, because technically with WiMAX we're not going to get that capital gain growth. Like we might, but it's unlikely, right? And the majority of the money that we're going to get, quote unquote, is from the dividends from WiMAX. So moving on, back to this page, we have the leverage ETFs. So we can see here that with BTOL, I mean, this is kind of an obvious thing with a hedge, but we lost 1.9% or $34. But with TQQQ, we went up almost 10% or $177. So really good. You can see the flat amount here, 212, 143. So yeah. Really, really nice. If we actually head over to the spreadsheet, I've already updated this for today. So we got about 5.05% for this last week, which is nice. Since November, we can see the average, or the sum is almost 19%. So that's pretty insane. The average is about 3% every week. It's also really, really good. You can see that's above our total average. And yeah, this last week we gained about $367. Pretty solid movement. And I haven't added any additional contributions. I think the idea or the plan is to add some. Not this week, but next week. I think on, what day is that? On Wednesday, maybe? Like the 18th. That's what I'm trying to aim for each week now. That's going to probably be, I'm thinking we do 1,500 this week. I've been trying to save and save and save, so trying to put as much as I can of my savings into this account. we have somewhat of an emergency fund. I know my wife would probably want a little bit more, but I'm like, we're missing out on potential gains. So, because honestly, guys, some of these stocks might be okay in the future. Like, I feel like TQQQ and BTOL will be. But some of these yield max funds in a bear market are just going to get shredded, probably. I mean, definitely not going to be doing as good as they are now. That's for sure, especially Misty and Coney. So, yeah. But moving over to our change since... Oh my gosh. Sorry, I keep yawning. Moving over to the percent change, the percent difference between the total amount invested and the portfolio current worth, or the current total value, we have a 27% gain, basically. Now, this isn't like time adjusted, but I think this is just as good. What this basically means is from July 1st, which is essentially when I started doing the investing, we've gone up 27%. So I'm really happy with that number. I think that's a really solid number. And you can see that's kind of been, well, our portfolio value has been going up and up and up, obviously. So yeah. This is what's really interesting. I like that I made this weekly MWRR graph, because essentially what we can see is, well, we can see the average playing out, right? If we take the entire average here, we have about 2%. You can see here, there's very few weeks actually that we are negative. There's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. And I don't know how many there are here. Should I count? There's 17 weeks, I think. I guess you can't really count the first one, so let's just say 16 weeks. There's 16 weeks that are total, but we only have 5 that are negative. So realistically speaking, I think that's close to like 1/3 of the weeks are negative. And that's just negative at all. You can see most of these, besides this one, are barely negative. Like we have, I think, 1.6%, like 0.7%, which like basically doesn't even matter at that point. I think I only lost $35. Yeah, 3%, and then 1.17%, which was last week. But you can see the majority are well above that. So it's, or like, what else I should say? Like the majority on the other side are well above that line. So we're getting a nice amount. And I don't know, like if we look at the last, well, this is actually pretty lined up, but if we even just look the last like 2 months, 27%, which is crazy. So remember this last month, or basically since November started, we had about 18%, almost 19%, so 27% since October, and with an average of about 2.7%. So the average is definitely lower total on there, but 27%, which is wild. If we add all of these up, we can see a 34% improvement. So, yeah, I don't know, guys. I'm like very happy with this portfolio. It's just like, and there are days, many days, that I think, oh man, I wish I could just turn on margin, and we have like a good buying power. But I just don't know. I don't know. First of all, I don't think I have enough dividends to pay off the margins. Maybe the margin that maybe I do, but I don't know. Real quick, let me just look at the buy here. So we're gonna buy some BTOL. I don't know. With the dividends, because we're getting them so often, It's actually not on this portfolio. It's actually not a good thing to rebalance that often, because what actually ends up happening is this constantly is going to go down. And so what ends up happening is we actually lose potential gains for the what's it called? Like during upward movement. So with a hedge like that, you don't want to do that. Typically, like the best time to rebalance these is quarterly. And the idea, and we're taking quite a hit by just doing monthly, but it's still better. But now, because we get like dividends pretty much almost weekly, we do it from WiMAX, but I can't remember if that's enough. I don't know their minimum that they have here. We can update the minimum cash is basically what I was getting at. So what I'm thinking we do is maybe make this like $100. So what that would basically force the account to do is, it won't be able to buy anything unless it's $100 or has $100 in cash or more. And right now, I think that's fine, because what that basically makes us do is only when we add cash, a part of our monthly contributions, then it's going to use this $29 kind of thing. We could bump it up to like $500 just to make sure. But I don't know. But yeah, back to the margin thing. I would love to use margin, right? Because it's just like another $1,700. The problem, here's a few problems. One, all of these stocks have very high margin maintenance, I think they call it. So if I go over to Coney, I'm not sure where they store that information. Yeah, right here, maintenance requirement, 75%. Some of these I think are like 100%. 60% on WiMAX, Misty, 75%, USD, 75%, NVIDIA, 60%. Well, those are still really high, right? So it's like a thing that you have to do there. So I don't know if that's a bug or not. Let's see. So when I go into this, it says actually my margin's 2,300, which is kind of weird. I guess here is that these are maybe like higher. 100% on BTOL. There we go. So yeah, it's 75 there. So I don't know. Maybe that's changing it, but I'm rambling. I just wish I would be able to use margin. It's just I'm not comfortable with getting a margin call, to be honest. And I'm effectively using margin, well, leverage, if you will, with these leverage ETFs like USD or TQQQ, and technically MSTR at this point. It's basically a 2x lever. So I don't know. I'm probably just going to stick to not using margin. Also, I think our account is small enough to where, $1,700, that's maybe a month and a half worth of money. I don't think that's worth getting a loan for, essentially. Especially because if I go here, it's 6.5% right now, which is not very good. It's not the highest. I think they have here, right here, Fidelity, Schwab, Vanguard, and E-Trade are all pretty much 11%. Robinhood's, I think, is the lowest, but regardless, the interest rates are just insanely high right now, so I would never do that right now. Maybe when it comes down, I can consider it, but I think our account is still small enough to where it doesn't really matter. But before I end out the video, we're getting really close to $10,000. So like I said, I think I'm going to put about $1,500 in next Wednesday. So not this coming Wednesday, but next Wednesday. that will, assuming we stay around this level, that should bring us to what, 8,000, and only another couple months, and we'll be able to be around that $10,000 mark, assuming no capital gains and dividends. So obviously, we actually should be able to reach. We could reach that in 2 months. Honestly, I could see that because the last month we have earned. Well, it's since here we've earned $1,000, and all of this we earned about $300. So it depends. It depends. So yeah, but that's it for me. Just got to keep riding the wave of these dividends. And it's gonna keep snowballing. But yeah, next week is a very exciting week. I should have mentioned this earlier in the video, so I'll try to say it quick. But I believe it is a Coney week. So if we come down here to here, we have Group C, which is Coney, which is my largest holding. So, and if we come over to our ETFs, we can see the IV on this. There's Coney. There it is. We can see, well, it's at 142% distribution rate, the 30-day SEC yield. So I don't know, man. I'm really looking forward to this. If it's a high dividend, last month was really high. I think it paid over $100 for us. So if that pays well again, obviously I'm in for it, and that's going to be great for the portfolio. That's the thing about these weeks too that is not highlighted, is essentially some of them are just going to be inherently worse, right? Because we don't have Coney or Misty on, we don't have any Group A, I believe. So I go back here. We only have these three, right? Exactly these top three. We don't have Tesla. I personally don't feel that safe in Tesla. Because I think it's just too volatile, which is funny, but I might get in Bybit, maybe, but that's going to be a temporary position because my views on Bitcoin. Speaking of which, I did make a small error in the last video. Apologies. I meant to say I think the bull run is going to last maybe until around April of this next year, because that's a year after this year's happening. So between April of next year and what's it called? What's 6 months after that? Like April and October. Realistically speaking, if we just take the average, or the in between of those two, that's like July, I think. So July is probably going to be the highest. Between I would say probably closer to April, though, is going to be the max that I could see, because Bitcoin reached a new all-time high over this last week of like 100 and I think it was like 104K or something, so 103K, which is pretty crazy. But anyways, I know this video is super long, so I'm gonna end it out. But yep, as always, guys, I wish you guys a wealthy future.